Okay, does everybody see my screen? Hmm. Yes, does everybody see my screen? I don't hear
Here
you.
present.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me over so spontaneously, Karen. So yeah, basically, I just wanted to quickly come in to talk about us. We've been having a partnership with Keller Williams for the last few years. As Karen already said, we're not a mortgage company, we're a moving company. We move people and so basically, give me a sec. So basically who we are, we're a moving company. We've been on the market for like the last 5 years. We're one of the highest rated moving companies within the New York City area. We're a family owned business, so we're not one of the largest companies, but we're also not one of the smallest, but we do have the expertise. Our approach with clients is really to take the, the personal approach. I myself believe in moving people and not just items. So, based on that, we do long distance, local, international, we do residential and commercial moves. We also do staging solutions, which might be interesting to you all. Also, for example, we work with declutterers as well, who help organize homes before they put it up for sale to make sure it looks in order, and we take part of the boxes out, for example. And then also storage solutions, which, as you all probably know, is huge when it comes to buying and selling. Sometimes you close on one house but can't go into the next one first. So then we also offer you storage solutions. So really what makes us different, what our goal is to be transparent with the client up front from the beginning. There are many moving companies that will start with, they will start with a certain rate and then jack up the price for whatever reason. Our goal is, as I said, to be transparent from the beginning. That's why you're also seeing me in my car right now. I do on-site estimates. So I go to your client's home, I see what they have, and based on that, I give them a fixed price on their moving services. Another advantage that we have is the control. So for example, all of the trucks and trailers that go down the East Coast for long distance moves are 100% controlled by us. So they're not being outsourced. That just gives us a lot more control on where the items are, what the process of the moving stage is, and also gives the customer a better feeling of, working only with one company, that one company being in charge of picking up their items and delivering them. Another aspect I think that makes us great is our movers. I speak very highly of them. They're all trained with us. They work directly with us. A lot of the movers, as me myself, they're immigrants. They come from other places, so they can really relate to the customer's experience. So a little bit about, the partnership that we have with you all. As I said, I would be your contact person. And I want to tell you a little bit about like how the process would work if you know somebody who is moving. So basically I would ask you all to put them in contact with me. I would reach out, and after that I would schedule an on-site survey. So I would go out to their home and based on that, give them a quote. I'm responsible for them, from beginning to end, even though of course operations kicks in and, I most likely won't be there on the day of the move, but I am there for your client from beginning to end, from the initial questions or the initial quoting options, seeing, what level of service they want, if they want, for example, full packing service, or if they only want us to move the furniture, to, the day of the move, and maybe, any questions that they have later on. And now what is important to you all is what benefit kicks in for you all if you refer your customers to me. So overall, I would say, we're adding value to your customer's experience. I like to compare it as, you being the person helping the customer buy their dream car, and me being the mechanic helping them, get that car figured out. So, we make sure that they have a great experience. And on top of that, we offer you either a generous referral fee, or it can also be a donation to a charity of your choice, or we can also pass it on as a discount to your customer. So you have those free options, either referral free, discount, or we donate the money to a charity of your choice. Again, I would always do a complimentary on-site service for your customer. And we also offer a premium package for your tenants on the day of the move, which includes, for example, wardrobe boxes, picture bins, and TV bins, which we offer free of charge. They're not being, there won't be any hidden fees right there. So yeah, that's pretty much the benefits. You know, testimonials you can look for yourself. We are, again, one of the highest rated moving companies within New York City. And I would be taking care of them myself. As I said, I moved myself like 3 times in the last 5 years internationally. So coming from that background, I take moving very serious, and I really relate to your customers' needs and experience. So yeah, do you guys have any questions or?
We're going to have this uploaded in our intranet. Jack is going to have that in our intranet. So if you need to grab hold of that slot, that thing for your listing presentation, if you know you have a seller or somebody, all extra value. This is a value source that you can give to your listing clients when you're going, because you know if they going for a listing, you're going to move. They have to move. So why not bring that extra added value with you on your listing presentation to help you get that big, because now you're being different. And we talked about that yesterday, about being different. So this adds extra value to you as an agent. Absolutely. Any questions for Francis? Okay, Francis.
Well, thank you so much for having
me. I appreciate you. We'll have that on our internet so that our agents can connect and go back to our internal website and be able to print it for their clients.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. You have a great day. Have a good meeting. Bye.
All right, guys. So we are doing listings today. We're doing the landlord, and we're going to talk about the actual listing of a sale of a property. So I'm going to share my screen now. And we're going into command. And I know a few are new, so I'm going to start off on how to actually create. Do everybody know how to get to command?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So we're going to start off with creating a contact. And y'all know who I love. I love the characters of Walt Disney. So we're going to add, I know I got Mickey out there, got Minnie out there, Donald Duck. Oh, I don't think I have Goofy. What was Goofy last name? I don't even think Goofy had a last name. So
I don't think he did either.
You always want to put in an email address. If you have an email address, I'm just going to use one of my email address. My system don't have this one. I'm going to say I have it in there. And then you want to use a telephone number. If you repeat a number, the system will block it because it's going to already see that you have a contact. And I have a lot of sellers that have different LLCs that have the same email address and the same phone number. So you have to put those details in at a different point. And I'll show you that as we go through. Because if you put it in now, the system will just block it because it's already recognizing you have somebody with that email address or you have somebody with that phone number. So if that comes up, you have a person that has, you know, an LLC and 4 different properties, but 4 different LLCs, but the same email address, the same phone number, you will get blocked. So just put in the full name of the LLC and leave everything else blank. And I'll show you later on how we get those details in. So this is our contact. We're going to tag them as a landlord or a seller. We're doing sellers and landlords today. So we'll just tag him as a seller. Our goal is to get more listings, not landlords, but landlords turn into listings. And then you hit create. And now that becomes part of your permanent contacts, so that you'll be able to manage and set up smart plans. They'll be labeled. You see how mine are labeled. That's a seller, that's a seller. If you go down, you'll see if they're VIP seller, if they just a seller, if it came from a referral source, if they're a buyer, you can label when you create in your contact that person. Then our next step is to create an opportunity for that client. So in this case, we're going to work with the seller first. So when you create opportunity, you come up with your market center, which always should be Jersey City. Don't worry about changing that. You are the owner. It's not saying you're the owner of the property, you're the owner of this file. So don't worry about that field. What type of opportunity? If you don't change your opportunity and you just select the first one and you meant to select the landlord, you're gonna have to do your whole opportunity over. It's not like you can go back and switch from landlord to listing or from buyer to tenant. So make sure you choose the opportunity the first time, the right time. So today we're gonna work with the listing. And then you're gonna find a client and said this one was goofy. So there he is. As you type, you'll see your contact come up. Estimated list price, well, we don't really know it, but you may have already done a CMA. It's just an estimate. So in this case, we're gonna work on Pearsall, and I think we started off with 225 for that. Commission, now it's talking about it's not talking about the total commission, it's talking about the commission you're gonna receive on your side. So don't put the whole 6% there because you're not gonna receive the whole 6%. You might only gonna be receiving 3% of that 6%. It's gonna be where we could put the 6% in somewhere else, but it's not here. What phase are you in? Well, did you set the appointment or is it active? Sometimes we fall into the paperwork and we already have the appointment. We already have the opportunity. We know we're gonna get it. So you can do active. In this case, if you don't know, you just set appointment. So are you in a skate? Did you keep the appointment? Was it scheduled? Are you scheduling it or is it kept? Let's say it was scheduled. So you know you have the appointment. And then you're gonna hit create. Now you created the opportunity. So if we ever want to edit, there's a little pencil that show up right here, general information, little pencil. You can click the pencil and you can edit anything that you may need to edit. Time frame, you're hoping that you can get this within a month. You don't really have an ultimate closing date because it's not under contract, you didn't win the agreement. So it's not everything you need to change on here at this point in time when you're just going to the appointment. On this side, property, there's another little pencil that shows up. No, it's the pencil. On that side, you want to put the property address that you're working with. So in this case, I'm going to work with 243 Pearsall, Jersey City. Now, Pearsall is a 6-unit building, so I want to make sure I distinguish what unit I'm working with. In this case, it was 1L. It's in New Jersey, Hudson County, and zip code. As I typed in 243, it came up. It came up the state that I'm working with, the country that I'm working with, because we can be in Canada or United States, we're international. So we're in the United States. But if you just start typing the address, it will come up for you. You would hit save, and now this part of your details is finished. If you have not gotten with John Carlos, when you go to select your documents and start a transaction, you might not be able to pull in your DocuSign forms all correctly. You might get a bar that says, please put in your NARDS number, NARDS. If that come up, you need to speak with John Carlos so he can help you navigate and get your NARDS number and get you set up correctly. The NARDS is going to be able to pull in all your paperwork from New Jersey MLS, New Jersey NAR, or your NAR forms. If you don't have it, please make sure you see John Carlos as soon as possible, because if it's after 5 o'clock and you're working with the client and now you can't even do anything until the next day, that might be an opportunity lost. Hopefully not, but you want to make sure that you're efficient from day one. Now, on here, you see you have details, documents, and envelopes. Those are the only 3 that we're interested in. Remember before I said you can always add your details another time? Well, this is it. When you hit edit on here, you can add all the details that you need to edit. My computer don't want to hit edit. Okay, so again, we're working in US dollars. We don't have an MLS number yet because we haven't put it in the system. And another thing is with the MLS, if you have not started and you're just starting, where I go to add a listing, you see I can add. If your MLS don't have that you can add a listing, that means you did not take the MLS training video. You need to go and take the video so that when it comes time to, you'll be able to add a listing to your MLS. Let's go back to our details. The address we're working with, you see it came up, but everything didn't fill out. So we in Hudson County. And then the state is New Jersey. Property type, if you're working with the landlord, it would be a rental. If you're working with the sale, it would be what it's going to be. Whether it's going to be a condo, new family, is a residential attached, a residential detached. You can select it. So in this case, that was a condo, 243. So I would pick condo. Year built. A lot of times we don't know when the house was built. The owner doesn't even know, but the tax records sometimes tell us. So let's go look at the tax record. We'll go to our MLS, pull up property search. We're going to search by the street because we know the street. We know the county was Hudson. We know the town was Jersey City. And we know the street started with a P for Pearsall. And we know the building number was 243. So let's go to 243. And we know the unit was what? 1L, right? And when I click on that, it's going to give me my block, my lot, and a qualifier. Only a condo has a qualifier. It's going to tell me what section of Jersey City it is. This is Greenville. It's going to give me the land description, the estimated taxes, the square footage, but it didn't give me the year built. So if you don't have the year built, don't worry about it. Don't stress on it. Just leave it blank.
Karen,
Yeah.
for the qualifier, should we know what the different codes mean, or is it just only condos?
Well, the qualifier is only on condos. Now, when you speak about codes, the building description have different things in it, which will tell you what the codes are. Like, well, you don't know what 3S is. 3S is 3 stories. What is F? F is frame. What is 6? 6 is the number of units. U is units, so 6 units. So it's a 3-story frame, 6-unit building, condo building. There is, and I'm not sure if everybody knows how to get to the internet, but the internet is a world of information, and I have had these documents uploaded. Sometimes it's hard for me to even find the documents, so I might have to have John put it in Hot Topics. But let's see if we can find it in our intranet. Underneath our documents, in the intranet, you go at the bottom, KW Market Center MC. 1044 is our internal market center for KW. So if you ever go to a KW event and they ask what your market center is, it's 1044. We want our market center documents. And under documents, we have a host of different things that you can look under. Now, where I put it, I can't remember. So what I'm going to do is go to my email and show you the list of codes. But it's somewhere in here. If you need anything else for documents, you can look through here, but for sake of time, I'm just going to go pull it up. That was the last person I sent it to, so that's why I know it's easy to not true. So these are 2 documents I've used throughout my career. It's 2014 for this one, so you might have to alter the amounts to be what 2020, 2021 would be. But this one gives you an idea if you're doing a condo, if you comparing and you're doing a CMA and somebody have a bathroom, an extra bathroom or extra half bathroom, how much that might be extra. So 2014, add a few more thousand because we're 6 years out. If they have a renovated garage basement as opposed to unrenovated, if it's full or partial, it's just a guide on the amounts that should be increased to give you an idea of what you can add on for something that may not have it when you're doing your CMA. The building description codes are here. Remember we said S, it was 3S. 3S, S stand for story. Then it was F stand for frame. Then it was
And that
6.
means like it's been like framed out with like 2x4s.
Without brick, so I don't know the construction of frame.
But it's not
Google
like
it for you.
concrete brick. It's like, it could be
Google
like
can
steel
tell
or
you
wood.
anything, but it more than likely when it's frame is wood.
The wood frame. Karen, when you were talking about the itemized kind of thing to think about for CMAs, is there sort of a standard percentage that you're guessing to add on between those last 6 years?
So Google is gonna become your best friend, so you can go and say.
I mean, that's
what's
what
the
I've been
cost
doing.
of-
I wasn't sure if you had a
Yeah, what's the
formula.
cost of a HVAC system?
sure.
And then find a cost, and then you
Just-
just have your guide.
Okay.
Okay, so Google's our best friend, guys. I'm gonna download that, send that to Jack so that we can make sure we put that in hot topics.
Okay.
This way, fine, as opposed to just skimming through every document in the internet, which is crazy.
Thanks.
All right, let's go back. So that was the condo. We was at the year built. We found out the tax record don't have it. List date. Well, if I'm going on a listen today, I'm hoping to get the listen today. If you don't have to put a list date, you can leave it blank and then fill it in when later on when you do get the paperwork. Offer, we don't have an offer yet, so that doesn't apply. Closing details doesn't apply. Additional information, well, there's no concession because there's no listing it. Now, remember, we talked about the commission. Well, the list side, we said was going to be 3%. And I don't even know where I did that because when I do a 6% commission, I'm taking 3.5%. The buyer's getting 2.5. There's
I
very
thought that was a
rarely
little
I do
generous.
2 or 3. Huh?
Said I thought that was a little generous.
Yeah. No, I never do a 3 or 3. It has to be something really going on for me to do a 3.
I actually saw a listing where they were only giving the buy side 1.5%. So I guess better generous than that. Has anyone ever seen that?
Yeah, unfortunately I have seen 1%. Now, if you have to make adjustments to any of your commission after it's set in stone, you have to come to me and get permission. Maybe we can talk to it. Maybe we can find some alternatives where the seller will do something different. If you're just taking a listing off the back, our policy currently says 5% minimal. Anything under 5% must still get my permission. We are trying to revise that because we recognize the industry is 4%. A lot. I don't want to discount your money. I don't want nobody to discount my money. So I'm always going to try to help you with the seller to convince them I can negotiate for your commission, for my own commission. How I'm going to negotiate with your lifeline on the line for millions of thousands of dollars. I don't want to jib you. I don't want, I want you to make sure that you're getting the highest. And that means I have to make sure myself I can get the highest. Different wording that we can use and strategize with the seller so that you're not just giving in to 4%. But I do recognize, and I know it is an issue, especially since we've been in this pandemic, that we're only getting 4%. And I don't want you to lose the listing. So more than likely, I am going to let you go ahead on and do that 4%, but you just have to have that conversation with me until we can get that revised officially. All right. Outside referrals, if you're doing a referral, even if Sarah and Jessica, you are working together and it's in-house, please put in writing because I don't want any issues later on. Well, you said this and I said that. No, we agreed on this, and where's it in writing? I need to see it. Put it in writing. We have an internal referral form, which is us, internal, our office, KWJC in Bayonne. But then we have the external referral, which is side A and side B, when we're doing it with someone else outside of our office. Even if it's another KW, we want to use the external one as opposed to the internal. But make sure you get everything in writing. If y'all doing an open house together and y'all make arrangement, please put it in writing, because in writing is official. Word of mouth is not. So use your referrals if you're going to be using referrals.
Are
Tax amount.
there external referral forms that's in DocuSign, right?
Yeah, both of them is in DocuSign. Tax amount, we get the tax amount from the taxes. There it is. Tax amount 2916. So we can put that in. Lot size, we get that from the taxes. Lot size 33.50 by 75. So it's a wide. Average lot in Jersey City is 25 by 100, by the way, which can get you a two family. 30 by 100, 3 family, 40 by 100, 4 family. Church 100 by 100. So you would go through zoning if you need to know any information like that. If you get an empty land that you need to list, zoning will help you be able to figure out what can go on that land. Sometimes the seller knows, sometimes they don't. So 33.50 by 75. Square footage. Now this is always approximately, because again, it could be the way it was measured wall to wall and not behind the sheetrock wall to wall. So this is always going to be approximately 730 or whatever comes up on the tax record. Bedrooms, in this case, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1 bathroom. You may not know what it is. You have to talk to the seller. When you're talking to the seller or the landlord, you got to get some details from them. Ask them about the house, especially if you haven't seen it yet. They want a CMA. They don't want to show it to you, but they want a CMA. You got to learn to ask some questions so that you can have an idea when you're going to do a CMA in comparison. So you want to know what's the lot size, what's their square footage. And you got this, you pull the tax records when you ask them questions, but you could keep all your notes there. Have you done any renovations? Are the appliances new? Is there stove, stainless steel appliances? Are there hardwood floors? Have you done any improvements to the roof? Are there any assessments against the association? When was the last time the association went up in their fees if we're dealing with condos? Is there pest extermination when you're dealing with condos? Different things you can ask to try to see, get the quality of the building. You can always drive by it. You might be able to go into the lobby ahead of time before you're doing a CMA. You might be able to go on the MLS, look at somebody else previous, what did that expire already? Look at somebody else previous listings and get an idea of what it may look like inside. Use all your resources. Sometimes people do try to put things on Zillow themselves. So you just be like a little investigator and trying to see as much as you can. A lot of people use the area map to see the condition of the roof. So just go to Google and pull up the area map. Anything that will help you, but having that conversation with the seller is going to be the most important information. But if you can't get to it, use your resources. So 243 Pearsall, I pull it up. There's 28 things that came up, 26 things. I can look through everything and get an idea of what I'm looking at, what I'm doing. Especially if they have my unit on here, then that makes it even easier. I can just go straight to my unit and get an idea of what the interior pictures may have been if it was vacant at that time. And this way it's going to help me be able to price what I need to price. Any questions on that? Total number of rooms, if we got 2 bedrooms, you count the living room and the kitchen, so that'd be a total of 4 rooms together. This has no garage parking, no parking at all. So that side of the left side is complete. Now you have to go and put the right side. In this case, you only know the seller because we don't have a buyer yet. So if it's 2 sellers, you want to make sure you put 2 sellers. Now we're looking at the tax records and it say LLC. We don't know if it's male, female, who it is. It might be 2 names, but one person might be deceased. So you always want to be discreet, but you need to know who are the decision makers that will be present. So if you got 2 names and it's a husband and wife and someone is dead and you don't know that, by saying, will all the decision makers be available for the presentation? This way you just ask without insulting or making somebody feel bad that their significant other is deceased, that, you know, oh, you didn't assume. So just ask in a discreet way, who will all the decision makers be that will be meeting the need to sign paperwork? And this way you'll know who to put. Or if it's an LLC, ask for the, what name should I put as far as the one that will actually sign? Because then you're gonna put investment, Personal Investments LLC, but then you want the owner's name that will sign, who's the owner of that LLC. So that would be, you know, in this case, Rachel Washnet is the owner. So even though everything would say Personal Investments, Rachel signs in her real name. So you need to know the person who signs in the real name.
Yeah, Karen, when you're talking about LLCs, like let's say somebody's like this one, is there any sort of documentation that you usually ask for?
It's called the certificate of, what is it called? Certificate of often. There is this document. I will have to remember the name, but it's a certificate, and it's the order of who's the owner, who's the president, who's, you know, vice president, or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a certificate that you can ask for to prove who the LLC is.
Okay.
Generally, with her, with this one, she created it when we bought it, so I know she was the LLC. Sometimes if they're not paying cash, the mortgage will not let them put a property in an LLC, so they have to buy it in their real name and then transfer it to LLC sometime later. All right, let's go back. That's sellers. You are the listing agent, so all your information should come up on the right side. If it don't, just add what may be missing. If you're doing a partnership, then you make sure that your partner is listed on there too. And then again, once you find a tenant, a buyer, then that other side will be filled out as far as the buyer information. In this case, we only concentrate on whether they're a landlord or a seller. So once you finish with all that, at the bottom, you want to make sure you hit the save. Otherwise, you'll lose all your information. And once it's saved, it's part of history. You can always go back and update any details that you want. Go into our documents. Now, because I already chose that I'm working with the seller, it's going to pull in most of my documents that I need automatically. However, it doesn't pull in everything. So you want to go to your DocuSign forms. You want to look up Hudson County, because that's the MLS we're working with now. And you want to pull up your listing packet. And if you're doing landlord, then you would do the Hudson County one for listing packet for rental, if you was doing a rental for landlord. Once you pull this up, then you can go and see if there's anything else you need. Like if it was in a condo, then a 1 family. If it's in the 1 family, you might need to pull a 2 family. Home warranty waiver, we can use that because generally a landlord don't care about warranty, but a homeowner may care about it. If you're gonna do a broker open house, you can pull a broker open house, hold harmless for COVID. Let's see, lead paint disclosure. Any house built before 1978, you need the lead-based paint, so you want to pull that. Definitely remember our new whole harmless release. Well, you got two whole harmless. The broker one and then the landlord. Once they sign one time, they don't have to sign again. And before, where the buyer and the seller had the same sign on the same document, now you only have to worry about your seller signature. You don't have to worry about your buyer's signature. When your buyer sign one time, that's one for all time. I like sending a change of status form because a lot of my clients are out of town, and we may communicate over the email, over a text message, but at least if I already have the form on file, I can go make that change and send them a copy. So I always send a change of status form. Property description form, again, if this was in a condo, you might have to pull in the 2 to 4 family, or if you're working with the vacant land, you pull in the vacant land. Protect your family from home, that's the brochure. So yes, you want to send any house built before 1978 have lead, so you want to send the brochure with them. Let's see. We don't have to worry about the addendums because we don't have a contract yet. So the addendums, we really don't pay any attention to until we get a contract. Then we want to drop all those into our room. This is our room. These are all the documents that we're going to be responsible for with the seller. So I'm going to open up a different file that's already completed and show you those documents. That's supposed to go on through each one. So once you open up the documents, it'll be go to. Remember before we hit start. Now and every time you go to your same document, it'll be go to versus start because you already started it one time. Now you see I have 2 documents in here. I have the tax record, which is red, and then I have the tax record that has a green check. The green check means anything in green was sent to the seller and sent back signed. So that means you know that's completed. That's the one that you want to use for your compliance. So I put the tax record as part of my file. I generally put the CMA as part of my file. Yeah, I didn't see that, I put it in here. But when I do the CMA, you want to scan, download it as a PDF so that you always have it as your file, so that when you have to go back 3 months later because they didn't listen to you, you say, see, we're tracing the market because I told you to list it here, and now we're here, so now you need to reduce it here. So put your stuff in your CMA so that you always have it. I mean, in your envelope in your room, so you always have it. Let's go to the documents that you actually gonna need. And we'll begin with those documents. So, exclusive right to sell. This is giving you permission to list their property. And the compensation on here is 5%. I do 5% for her because she's a repeated client. She's bought over 5 houses, and I probably rented those 5 houses, different units over the last 7 years, probably a good 20 times. So you have a good client, you treat a good client good. Again, you have the lot and block automatically come up. The list date you can put in if it doesn't come up. Like if you didn't put it up in the beginning, you can put it in our brokerage, the price. When can the person take possession? At closing. What is the commission? 5%. This agreement is good for 90 days after it expires. So anybody I bring to the property up until January 2022, 90 days later, she still will honor if they still are interested. This is me, Keller Williams, seller's agent, disclosed to agent, because we don't know when we'll ever get a buyer. And then out of that 5%, I'm giving 2.5% minus 275. That's your exclusive right to sell. That's giving you permission to list the property. This is the description of the property. second page of the exclusive right to sell, which tells you about the property, the description. Again, two important things on here. Make sure compensation is always 0 for SA. SA is sub-agent. We don't work as sub-agents anymore. BA, buyer agent, TB, transaction broker, must be the same. If it's not the same, you're gonna get a fine. So make sure if you're offering a BA 2.5% minus 275, that TB should be 2.5% minus 275. If you alter those to make one get less than the other, MLS will fine you. There is a video on MLSRguide.com that explains that whole thing. And then the description, you want to put the description in. We had already put the taxes in. Wait a minute, look like the taxes decreased. Oh no, they increased. So every September, your taxes go up. So if you put the listing in prior to September, you want to go update all your taxes on your MLS. So I need to do that. I was like,
Does that mean that everything should be at the 2021 taxes, or like starting on
Correct.
Friday?
Nope. See, it already went to 2021, 2916.
It's
So
usually the beginning of
it already
September, right?
started. Yeah. Monthly fee, you have to get that from the owner. Approximate size, we got that from the tax record. Again, items included, excluded. Remember to cooperate and broker. Remarks. You could put any information here about any amounts, about any of your personal information. You can do anything to the other broker. That means me, Sarah, Jesse, Jason, we all know what's going on, what we need to do in the broker remarks. We all need to know about the pay and everything. When it comes to the advertising remarks, do not put in anything about any type of payments in here, you will get fined. Do not put anything about walking in your advertising remarks, because everybody may not be able to walk. Somebody might be in a wheelchair. They may be handicapped and they can't walk. So now you just discriminated. Try to stay away from who can live in a condo. So don't put investors delight. Don't put perfect for the single family, the single man. Don't put a bachelor party, bachelor crib, or something, relating to who can live in the property. You will get fined. They will take all your remarks out. And then you'll be like, oh, what'd I do wrong? Yeah, you said something wrong. Generally, they explain it to you. Then you want to just check off each box that might apply to that condo unit. And again, if you don't know, don't guess, just ask the seller. And if you don't know, just leave it blank. All right, so that's your description form. Again, you want to send your lead, because I don't care if they don't read it. I just need to know that I did my job and sent it. Home warranty, she signed it. She don't want no home warranty. So I'm pretty sure we click no. Now, the Attorney General memorandum, everybody should sign this, landlords and seller. And the first sentence, both you and your licensed broker or salesperson should sign the last page of this notice to acknowledge compliance with RAC requirements, and each of you should retain a copy of this signed notice for your records. Discrimination, we can't discriminate, y'all. The only color we see is green, which is money. That's all. So you want to make sure that your client sign both and you sign. Not me, your broker, because you're my representative. You, not me. Don't send it to me to sign. Consumer information statement. Again, I need to know how you're working for me. In this case, we can be a seller agent and a disclosed dual agent if the opportunity arises. You always want to check this, because our goal is your listing, your lead. So we want you to have both sides of the deal. So we want you to be disclosed dual agent. So you're going to always click seller agent and disclosed dual agent. Will you ever have pushback on this? In 19 years, I only had one seller, and that was last summer, that said, I don't want you to represent anybody but me. So I couldn't represent them with any buyers. So, but I still had to do my job. So I still had to do an open house. So what I did, I invited another agent from another office to do the, well, she was in my downline. Because it should be somebody from your same office, but she was in my downline. I invited her to do the open house with me so that she take the buyer leads and give me a referral. So if you have a seller that ever say, I only want you to represent me, then pick somebody in office, say, okay, here's what we're going to do. I have to be there because it's my listing. I need you to represent any buyers that come through, and I need you to give me a referral. Seller doesn't know what we're doing internally on our books. So that's what you do. Get it in writing. Make sure you do your referral, and then you host your open house, together.
Wouldn't you still have to be a dual agent on the
You
paperwork?
sell it through an agent.
I'm saying
That person is,
even if you're still representing the seller, like if somebody else in the office, on the paperwork, we still have to be listed as a dual agent, yeah?
a dual agent.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
I just directly wouldn't be negotiating with the
sure,
buyer.
of course, yeah, okay.
Now on here, you will get your paperwork sent back if you don't type in your name. So Karen N. Sims, that's the name of the licensee. So please make sure you always type in your name there before they sign, and the seller's agent and disposal agent if the opportunity arises. And the same thing with the buyer. When you're working with the buyer, disposal agent, because we never know when we're going to walk into another KW property. All right, let's go to home warranty. If they don't want it, sign it, they don't want it. They can waive that they don't want it, or they can accept it. That's their choice. If you do sell a warranty, one of the home warranties will protect you with any E&O issues. It has won bidding wars. Matter of fact, someone that's closing today, part of our negotiation was that we'll put a home warranty on there, and then we were comfortable enough to be like, okay, we'll waive up to a certain amount of any inspection issues. So the buyer was at ease because she knew she had some protection, and the seller was like, okay, it's a relief for me because you're waiving something. I wouldn't say, we're not saying waive everything of your home inspection or your appraisal. That's not what we're saying, but it helps you get a advantage over the next person, especially when you're in a bidding war. Now it's going to be your responsibility to help the seller get the certificate, smoke certificate from the city of Jersey City. You don't have to worry about that with landlords, but anything that's 1 or 2 families or condominium, you need to make sure that everything is in place, that this get notarized, that everything is done, and help them get the certificate. If you take the responsibility, because a lot of my clients are out of state, just remember, Karen, have to make sure that this stuff is working, because if there is a fire and Karen notarize that this stuff was working and the fire department find that this stuff was not in there, who's getting in trouble? Me, Karen. So if you take on that responsibility, make sure everything is a proper working condition. What I generally also do, I take pictures once I finish everything, send it to the seller so that they know that I've done my job. I send them the receipt, whether they pay me up front or whether I get paid at closing. Generally, I get paid at closing. That's the separate check that comes straight to me. I charge them for the cost of the materials, the cost of the fire extinguisher, and the cost of the notary. And we allow you to get that money back as reimbursement on a commission statement. So you put 15,000 Keller Williams City Life Realty, $200 Karen Sims. Just make sure you send all your receipts to the attorney and to the seller, so if they know you did your job and getting this, you want your money that came out of your pocket directly. That is okay. We're okay with that. Okay, so we have a lot of affiliated disclosures, and I know these are kind of rough because they're new, and anything new is hard. But these are all the companies we had affiliations with. These are all the companies that you can make passive income with. When you think of that, passive income is just a disclosure that we have affiliations with these different companies. They're not agreeing to anything, but should they do, we will be getting paid on it. That's all this is. So we need the seller to sign, buyer, tenant to sign, seller or landlord to sign, and then we acknowledge it, that we presented it to the other agent to sign. But yes, we have to use them for compliance because we have affiliations. And it covers our RESPA, so it keeps us out of trouble from getting paid without disclosing. Same with this. One is intended to do upfront, which is the first one. This is intended, so we're doing it up front when we do the listing presentation, we're educating them about what we have. So when it comes down to we actually have the contract, now they can decide if they want the services. And again, this one have where you could check off yes, no, maybe so. She just checked, she just signed, I didn't check anything. But if she wants the services, they're there for her. She didn't deny or accept any of them. As long as it's signed, we know that we sent it to them. Your lead-based paint, any house built before what year? 1978. Has to have this document. This is a $10,000 fine. If we get audited and it's not in your files, you're screwed. Seller has no knowledge, seller has no reports. This is what you want to upload into the MLS under your documents, so that when you do go to the document, let me see. This one I actually withdrew the other night, so, but the document should still be there. So when you go to D for your document, you have your lead there. Now you don't want your buyer sign anything that's blank, so you want to always get the lead from off the MLS. And if it's not on the MLS, call a listing agent directly and have them email it to you. But don't let your buyer sign a blank one, because they don't know what the disclosure is. It could be that the seller has knowledge. It could be that the seller has reports. So you don't want them to sign a blank one that has no disclosure on it. All right, it's the file that we were in, yeah. What's this one? No, that's Goofy file. Let's close you, Goofy. We don't need you no more. All right, seller hold harmless release. Well, this document, we have to use it, but remember, you only have to use it one time, unlike before, where you had the tenant and the seller had to sign once for all time, and you're good. You don't have to worry about ever signing again. You don't have to upload it in the MLS no more. You're fine with this one. Wire fraud. Why do we use wire fraud? Who cares about wire fraud? Well, the last, I would say 8 years, people have intercepted our email address as if it was Karen that sent out a notice to send their money and wire it somewhere else. And once that money is lost, it's lost. Once it's scammed, it's scammed. We as agents, we don't get involved with wires. We don't initiate wires. We don't have any conversations about wires. We don't send wires. We don't have anything to do with the wire. So if a client ever thinks they saw something from Karen Sims, it's a lie. It's a scam, because Karen already educated them that I will not ever send them anything with a wire, and they signed it. Now we have 2 of these. That one was for New Jersey. Both the buyer, landlord and tenant sign that, or the seller and buyer sign it. The other one that we have on file is a KPG one. So you see here, it's seller and buyer. The other one is just for our clients, the one that comes from KPG. And let me see if I see that in the file. I don't know how both of them in there. I don't have that one in there, which is strange. So I'm gonna go find that one because it's also important to use it. Because on that one, if they are a victim of scam, that one has a lot more places they can call. It is in use. That's the KP. All right, it's already in use. So it has to be there somewhere. Let's go to KP. So I'm looking at KW because that's how it's in order. Okay, there it is. It is there. I was like, that was strange, but it's there. You want them to initial. This one only they sign and you sign, just the consumer. But you see, have all these barrels that you can call and try to get your money back. Because if you do it within a certain amount of time, chances are you'll be able to recoup it. And I think that's within hours. Otherwise, once it's gone, it's gone. So if that ever happens to your client, you need to they need to get on that immediately and call all these sites, put a claim in on everything that they can to try to get that money back. All right, so those are your documents. Now in your intranet and in your red book, because all y'all should have red books. Let's see, where's our intranet at? We have how-tos. How-to instructions. There's 21 different how-tos. So if you are stuck on something and you need to do a rental, how to do a rental transaction. If you're stuck on how to write up a purchase order, offer. List the documents for each transaction. If you click on that, you're gonna see everything on here for if you're doing a purchase, if you're doing a rental.
Hold on, I'm working, okay?
If you're doing, in our case, a listing document for rental and the listing documents for sale. So everything I just went over with you is right here what you need. So that when you're going back and forth as to what is needed, no guessing, no second thoughts, just refer to this and it got you. And then if you're really in doubt, go back to your YouTube, listen to some of these videos, and then text me if you don't got it still. But this is gonna help you get all your things in order that you would need. Your next thing is to make sure that once you get all your paperwork signed, you put them in your proper fields and get it approved ahead of time. You don't have to wait to get your approval until you're waiting for a contract. Once you get your documents signed, you upload them, and this will get approved by Colleen. This way, when you get a contract, you just have to do your contract page, get it approved, submit your commission when you come out of attorney review, and then all you're doing is waiting for your closing documents to be uploaded. But if listing and under contract is already done, approved, paperwork is good, you already put your offer and commission in after you did your attorney review. When you go to close, you're just looking for that commission check. You're already going to do the commission statement because they're going to need that ahead before closing. So you basically just waiting for your check, the HUD, and update the MLS that it's closed, so that when that come in, we can pay you literally within 24 hours, depending on what time that check came in. Sometimes the same day, but this all has to be updated real time so that everything can flow good and you get paid on time. And it's simple. Go back, review the videos, ask John Carlos, he's your, your tech person if you're having an issue with it. Ask me, I'm your transaction coach if you get stuck. ask Tara. You know, we are here to help build your business to make it seemingly as easy as possible, but we need you to do your part as well. Any questions for me?
I have one, Karen. It's Ramiz, your favorite rental student.
Okay.
How you doing today?
All right.
Quick question for you. On the IRS Form W-9 for establishing the tenant security deposit account, is that needed if the rental you're working on is like just a two-family? Because I think that whole rental security deposit thing doesn't apply to owner occupied, like,
No, the W-9s applies to anybody that has a security. Because remember, that month and a half security do not belong to the landlord.
mhm.
It belongs to the tenant. As long as when that tenant move out, that's his money. If the landlord dies and that money is in the account in the state, now the tenant have to fight for their money. They don't know where their money is. That W-9 is supposed to be filled out, sent back to the tenant within 30 days to let them know where their money is being held. So I got 2,500 of your money in my account. You need to know where that account is. So you need to know that Karen, the landlord, put that 2,500 in Bank of America within 30 days, and that's the law.
Thank you. And then for the guarantors, for credit checks, I was reading that I've never had to need a guarantor yet for any of my rentals, but can you give us a scenario you had in the past where you needed a guarantor?
Yeah, they must make 80 times the rent. So if the tenant is making 40 times, as a landlord, I want to see that you can afford your bills and this person's bills if they default. So I want to see that you can make 80 times the rent.
Also, the guarantor is used to establish the fact that if this guy can't pay the rent, the guarantor has enough funds to cover that person's rent, even if they don't live there.
They don't live there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I have a question about the W-9. The tenant is only signing it, right? And then the landlord fills out everything else once they open the account, correct?
So the tenant is signing it and they're put in, make sure they use the current address that they're gonna move in. Because remember, they're a year later when that money is due, they're long gone. So if that money get mailed, it's gonna get mailed to the address 2 years previous. So put the current address that they're moving into and make sure they put their social security, because that's the landlord is not gonna know that, and sign it. That's all needs to be done. The landlord takes that, the ID and the check to the bank and open up a tenant account.
And if it's multiple people, they each get their own individual W-9, right? And then the landlord would just put the same information, or should it just be one person in the apartment?
Well, it all depends on if they're related as a family and it's the head, then, you know,
Roommate.
if it's roommates and it's 2, I would say do 2. If it's roommates and it's 7, I'd say give me the 2 strongest on the application. Any other questions? All right. I will be around, I think, in 2 more weeks, and we're gonna do buyers and tenants. But if you want anything, did y'all want me to bring on Elizabeth, which is our NTN, our own NTN rep? I can bring her on for the tenant, so that we can learn more about NTN. I know we have the videos, but they're not on YouTube.
11 roomies.
It started 11 remis. I have 2 closings today, so I'm actually about to bounce. But normally it's 12. I could bring her on. She gives us tips, especially with the renters, if they on FHA, Section 8, how to block it out so that they don't get denied on the NTN based on the income. They do international, that she can show us, let us know about commercial, because there's a commercial NTN as opposed to a residential NTN. If anybody needs that, just let me know. I have it in my file. I just shoot y'all that information. It's a little bit costlier. But I think maybe she hasn't been on. We do have YouTube, but you have to ask me directly because she's not public. Or ask John Carlos because she's not public. She doesn't want to be public. All right. Well, guys, I got 2 closings. I gotta get to where I'm going, Saddlebrook, somewhere today. Boundbrook for the walkthrough at 1. So I'll talk to y'all later.
Congrats,
Enjoy your
Karen.
day.
Get that money.
Have a good
All
day,
right,
guys.
congrats, thank you.
Way to go, Karen. Thank you, guys.